motivation.
Yeah.
And an absolutely inspiring moment, too.
Perfect moment indeed. And going into the finals, they're going to have to show that it's still there. It's going to be Evil Geniuses to ban first as they start on defense, and they're going to get rid of Capitao. Not surprising in the least. Whereas on the side of Empire, they will eliminate Glass. It's an operator that they've banned before in this tournament, one that they seem to just not want to deal with. That's totally fair on the side of Empire, and it's the same story with Mira, an operator that has been banned consistently by Empire throughout this tournament. And she's gone. Just an operator they don't want to deal with. It doesn't have anything to do with seemingly with any individual team or their playstyle as much as it has to do with just Empire not wanting to, well, confront a Mira window.
I mean, if you know that Empire is coming from the same avenue every single time on every single site, then a Mira gives you a huge advantage over that, right? It does sort of counter Empire's unpredictability and aggressive playstyle, despite the fact that they are really predictable in where they come from. Put your hands together, please, as you can hear everybody else, whether you're sitting in your bedrooms, on your couches, wherever you may be, as we now have our grand finals ready to begin.
All right, so it looks like it's going to be a CEO office defense to start things off, and quite interestingly, a 6th pick into a clash from a smoke from Young. Young is a pretty good smoke player. You know, he's up there, T1 as smoke players go, sitting with the likes of Bosco in North America, but pushing him onto a clash is going to be an interesting change. This might play into what we were just talking about, or what you were just talking about. Lack of a Mira. Well, what do you need? You need something that can confront your opponent head on. Clash can give you that. We'll see how Young wields that Clash shield moving forward. Lots of information on the side of the defense as well. You've got a Valkyrie and a Maestro being brought. And of course, Clash does count as an information operator. Vigil on Canadian, so he's expected to roam pretty heavily. And Necrox on the Doc. Doc has been very popular on sites like CEO, where it's often the case where you are going to take a long-range bullet to the chest and need to be healed up. It's going to be very useful, I'm sure, on this round.
This will be fascinating to watch. You saw that there were some deficiencies in Team Empire's overall play on Bank yesterday against Dark Zero. Of course, the fellow countryman of Evil Geniuses. DZ does play a very different style than EG on a lot of occasions. DZ often ends up being less predictable than EG, sometimes less structure, and, well, DZ is a bit notorious for being very good at counter-stratting. They do an awful lot of work, and the one thing that needs to be addressed is that the deeper you go into a tournament, the less time you have to prepare. EG has had maybe a couple hours to prepare for either Fnatic or Empire. They knew it was Empire, but they had to get through phase first.
Crowd trying to imbue the teams with energy. Rightfully so. It's all or nothing at this point. Evil Geniuses have yet to give away a pick as of 1 minute into this round. Good job for them staying nice and safe. I believe that was an Evil Eye just dispatched there by Karzeka. Good use of that lifeline if that is the case. NVK aggressively on the main lobby stairs. He is, though, spotted by his opponent and could potentially be a free kill if his opponent plays it correctly. That's the Zofia by ATMs. Necrox will get the first kill of the series, though. There goes Joystick. Great pick to have early on. Karzeka's going to take out Canadian, who is trying to push up on ATMs. Seems there's a bit of a standoff here between Karzeka and NVK, and Canadian was trying to help that.
You've also got Geo down below lurking inside of Tellers. He's worked his way all the way out, and he's going to head over towards open area. Dan instinctively firing at the body in front of him, but it's a clash, so the bullets will just ricochet off of the shield.
That angle played between the bars there by NVK. How do you contest that, really? It's a tricky shot to land. Those are bulletproof bars, of course, so it's going to be not the easiest fight in the world. You can see that square wall has been opened up, so Team Empire have an avenue, and it looks like they're going to call Karzeka off of his push at ATMs just to focus on pushing site.
I mean, if you think about it, those concussive blasts from Zofia could go quite a long way to maybe throw NVK's aim off, but you're probably going to need them on the clash. So how do you find yourself in a position engaging that? You don't. As Karzeka very wisely learned, and maybe it was somebody else on Empire making that call, you pull him away. And now you've got two different bodies from Empire trying to figure out how to deal with this clash, as you're just going to see a very slow retreat from the clash, moving on out. Young will continue to occupy the space he's in. Oh, a beautiful shot from NVK. Necrox falls to Dan as Empire will get another body, but still that shield will be ever persistent, ever present. A threat that will loom over Empire as they look to push on in. They've only got 10 seconds to go. Geo finds Dan, and while Empire are in trouble, Karzek is the only one who's not immobile. Shepard getting the plant down. Young unsheathes the SMG and will find the kill, but Karzeka with 2 seconds left is on repel. Do you give in? No, you don't. You might as well just wait it out, take some time, think it over, and Evil Geniuses will open up this matchup with round number 1.
Beautifully played there from Evil Geniuses. Very aggressive to keep Empire at arm's length. One thing to note is how they managed to deny Karzeka entrance into that main lobby. Karzeka stuck at ATMs for the majority of the round, then he finally rotated to north windows. But here's the thing, because he didn't clear out the main lobby, he could not be fully safe on the rappel, and he had to rappel in positions that were obviously less ideal to him. He did manage to get this pick, though, on Canadian, which was very important. Overall, the strategy from Evil Geniuses, I love it. I especially love the way that NVK played in the main lobby. I would call it dangerous. Definitely very risky, what we saw from NVK. But it worked. Good for him. Normally, though, I would imagine that is something that we would have critiqued. Free pick on the top of main lobby stairs. It very nearly was, though. It very, very nearly was. It's going to be a basement defense here from Evil Geniuses up next. And Team Empire is going to have to adjust to this new bomb site.
It's also possible that Empire just got caught off guard by CEO being the very first site. And
True.
When we say caught off guard, we don't mean, uh-oh, we don't have anything to deal with this.
How do we handle it?
But more so, we probably could have picked a better lineup had we known that that was where they were going to end up defending.
Absolutely right.
I mean, at the same time, if you look at the lineup that's being brought from Empire, it's basically the same thing. So they're likely going to try to apply this cast of characters that they have as operators to every single site, because you don't know. There's still tellers on that middle floor opened up. With Mira being banned, it means that an open area is going to be trickier, though it's still definitely doable, and we've seen teams work it. It really just depends on the way that they play around it. So with Empire starting things off here in round number 2, they know that they're going to have to go to the basement, and how they align themselves is going to be very interesting. Empire does tend to take the same angle on in every single time. That means that their primary focus will probably be on Skylight Stairwell first and foremost.
What's the main attack onto the basement these days? You gotta clear out the roamers, of course. You need to drone things out. Got Jackal to support. Joystick so good at detecting those footprints, finding his opponents, and, well, just collapsing on them. Canadian in Archives with the pulse. He's waiting for an enemy to stand still, but he is being Jackal tracked. That's gonna make his life very difficult. And the C4 will miss, the pre-fire will come in, Dan will take down Canadian, and Empire have the lead early on. It was a nice setup there from Evil Geniuses. I love to see Canadian on Pulse. It is one of the operators that really he made a name on. Joystick's going to take down Geo, and it's getting even worse for Evil Geniuses following that Pulse pick. Jackal being in play here is huge for Empire.
Trying to hold this map control for EG, it doesn't really work all that well. Within 90 seconds, you've taken 2 of the most important operators on that roam out. Both the UMPs from Evil Geniuses will fall. And I mean, losing a Pulse, when you know how strong Pulse can be, playing inside of gold in the latter half of a round is critical.
Now, not just Pulse, a Canadian Pulse. Canadian really does know how to play that operator, and it's unfortunate to see him get taken out early. Okay, so the castle barricade was placed there likely to allow an Archives roam to thrive, but also potentially just to, delay the opponent. And look at that, they're going to use an Ixcaros on it. So clearly a redundant Ixcaros. Otherwise, I don't think Empire would have used that. That's a misstep there. Dan's going to be a little bit worse for wear because of his teammate going for a pre-fire on a common angle. But luckily for Empire, Young gets picked off, and it's a 2 versus 5, so it might not matter.
And Young was caught over towards the back of the other site by lockers. So very interesting that that was on the main stairs where the kill from Scyther came on out. This gives Empire perfect opportunity to just walk right into CCTV from the server opening and have control of the site. It's going to put a lot of pressure on NVK and Necrox playing deep within to try and stop this. There's going to be lots of plant utility as you wait and see if Shepard will be forced off. For the time being, it looks like he's going to have no issues whatsoever as there's a rotate from NVK caught out. And it's going to be very difficult for Necrox to bail his team out in a 1v5 with Diffuser planted from Empire, who have looked frightening in this round. Dan discarding over top of the Diffuser as Necrox is essentially trapped inside a red, and it will be a mercy killing from Empire. That's a perfect round from them, and well, it's a good way to answer back that CEO defense from EG in round 1.
Beautiful start there on that round for Empire, getting those 2 picks. They follow it up with just 2 more, and then it's all up to Necrox. Alone in sight, scared, I'm sure, against 5 Empire players. Doesn't get worse than that. Again, the Jackal, such an important influence in that round. It managed to allow for Dan to get the kill in Archives that you just saw. Joystick follows it up with his own kill, cutting off the rotation there from Geo. And then it just all went downhill for EG from there. So, great job to Empire. Really precise. They knew how to pick apart that basement. Now, EG tried their best to have some sort of roam presence, but they got shut down in that endeavor. And you gotta wonder, are EG going to double down on the roamers? Are they going to try to keep that ball rolling? Or are they going to just simply play sight? Which would be, I think, most teams' safe mode. It's just bring it back to sight, especially when you're dealing with Joystick on Jackal.
A lot of flexibility there, and also bear in mind that Nomad is unbanned. Now, Bank doesn't really see a lot of Nomad play. Most teams forego her here because of how large the hallways are, how large the entries to and from the sites are. You tend to find her on the more claustrophobic sites where she can really get good value out of those air jabs. And even though it was an operator that Joystick was playing with great reliability, Jackal and IQ will work quite well in a pinch, and that's exactly the comfort pick that you're going to see from Joystick. Give him the PDW with 50 bullets. It made life miserable for Fnatic when he did go on attack for those 6 rounds, basically chewing through anything the Aussies had, and it was one of the better showings from Joystick as of late, who has been, I don't want to say less effective, but definitely has seen an uptick from the rest of his teammates.
Yeah, I think it's his contributions on the side of everybody else, to be honest with you. Like, you can't really fault Joystick for that. I think it's, you know, it's good not to have a star issue. I think that's one of the things that Empire doesn't struggle with. They have every single player in a position where they're capable of contributing massive amounts of fragger power or support or whatever it is you need at any given time, and that's one of the things that makes Empire great. It's their flexibility. Now they're going to be clearing out just upstairs, looking for those roamers, taking down those footprints and scanning them, trying to find some opponents to get picks on early on, but not going to happen. Evil Geniuses seem to be playing all in sight this time around. They'll be playing the slow game. Ooh, there is one technical roamer, and that's MVK. He's gone. Karzeka gets the pick. Now Necrox is stranded in the server staircase.
And there's not really a setup on the server staircase to help Necrox out at all. At least it doesn't look that way. He has an opportunity to keep himself safe due to the fact that he has those toxic canisters, but that's really about it. If he gets pinched here, well, unless he's able to do his best Young impression with that shotgun, he's not going to be there for that much longer. But Young's got his cross, and this might actually free Necrox to be able to get out of jail.
Yeah, I imagine this is going to come down to Necrox wasting as much time as possible. Wow, he's going to place some barbed wire down late into the round. That is typical Necrox.
Necrox is a maniac.
He is.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yeah.
In all the best ways.
Mm-hmm.
Dan was looking to possibly get a flashbang entry into those server stairs as well, as you still see a body down below inside of server. And I don't know if Empire are aware of that. It's Necrox still playing there, but Joystick will find a kill onto Young, a great angle. And now Necrox falls too. The Empire guns are more than awake at this point, but Joystick's entry into the garage, as if somebody didn't already know, is now definitely known because of the Valkyrie camera. Canadian steps on up, but gets traded out by Scyther, who's just in sight. That's going to leave Geo in a position where this is going to be awfully difficult. He knows he's going to have to deal with one inside a garage, losing all but 1 HP, and it's Scyther to finish the job. 2 in a row from Empire. Off to a good start on Bank. You got to bet that they learned an awful lot from their matchup against Dark Zero and are applying it here perfectly.
Well, okay. So, Empire, their attacks on the basement, pretty one-sided, gotta say. They're just making it work for them well. And Evil Geniuses, their formula that they're trying to put out there, they've tried 2 different things now, not working out either way. A hard server hold, ooh, wow, or anything along those lines is being punished too harshly by Empire. The roaming punished too harshly by Empire. And so Evil Geniuses, when they eventually do go back downstairs, are going to need to try something different. But for now, they're going to go to CEO. It's probably the right call. as Basement just has been working out. CEO just opened up. It's an opportunity you may as well take it if you're Evil Geniuses. Now, overall setup here from EG is much the same. In fact, I think fully the same as the last time they went to this bomb site. Brought Young on the Clash once again. Very powerful on the last time EG was here. The cameras from Geo, of course, going to be useful. NVK. Big thing about this round that stands out to me last time we saw EG here was how NVK played at the top of main lobby stairs by Banana. That is a very aggressive position to play, and it's NVK relying on his absolutely insane aim that made him such a big, household name in North America at the very beginning, and, he still has to this day, and it worked out for him then, but can it work out for him consistently, or will he change position?
I mean, I'm not really confident in the way that Empire were able to push the site last time on CEO, and because of this, I don't know how much of an answer they're going to have for that clash. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was a 6th pick from the Clash on the very first round. So you might not have had the best tools available, and you might have them at your disposal now. That's why we saw Karzeka move. If you recall, he was basically hanging out in the lobby with NVK, just shooting the breeze until he got recalled over to the windows to possibly deal with the shield that was playing inside of the supply closet, but wasn't really able to do all that much with it, and, well, who knows exactly what he's going to accomplish. Joystick, who wasn't really present in that very first round due to an early death, is now going to be positioned on the windows that Karzeka had taken up home on, but he's just going to drone on in. He'll determine that A is essentially vacant. There's nobody in there. And if Necrox isn't watching, this could possibly be a position for Joystick to just rappel on in. But Necrox will spot the drone, and Joystick will go back onto the window, just playing around it. Nobody's really there to do all that much. One of the CEO walls will get taken out, and Empire will continue their pace that they've set up over on the east side by the Skylight stairwell.
Well, Empire have so much control. It's actually pretty impressive the amount that they've been able to chew away from Evil Geniuses without any punishment. The big takeaway for me is how well Empire have adjusted into a CEO take. And of course, that was their intention the last time they came here. But they were also distracted by their main lobby presence. That Thatcher EMP coordination with Joystick was beautiful, by the way. You got to commend the teamwork. Necrox with the run out. And he actually might be able to make it back. No, it's unlikely. Dan shuts him down. Beautiful job there from Dan. And I think for Necrox, that was worth it because he shut down the north window presence.
Also the only set of smokes for Empire, which means that a take on CEO is going to be a little bit more difficult now. You see a wasted C4 go off, and I say wasted because there was nobody even in the area code, so Geo just shoots his shot a little bit too early on. It's going to be Scyther going on over to the windows and rappelling upside down now, trying to catch somebody in his line of sight by the double windows. He's got a long vision into CEO, which is still, for the moment, completely vacant. There's nobody playing inside of A, but Young can rotate if need be. He's going to watch and see as Dan is going to press on up to Janitorial. An EMP will go off, but it's not going to be of much use. And Young's not really in a position to slow him down with the taser either. Canadian waiting just at the top of the stairs, could possibly dive on Dan, but he's not there for the time being. Plant going down from Shepard, and if nobody gets this, well, it could be problematic. Canadian cuts off the head of Dan, and now down below, Geo cuts through Karzeka. And while the diffuser goes down, there goes Shepard as well. It's going to be all Scyther upside down. He spots the Maestro and takes one body out. In a 1v2, he's playing the rappel, and this is a possibility that Empire could hold on. It's going to be very difficult. And if they are not really wise to him, well, there he goes. But no, Geo will be able to grab him, and even though you've got Canadian inside of sight, he felled the shield, it doesn't matter. EG in a great position to hold on, and they will do just that. Tie it up, 2-2, and the CEO defense right now for EG working effectively, but they're not going to have an opportunity to do it again on their next two defenses.
And that's the story, isn't it? It's been two different bomb sites, two different results. CEO definitely somewhere where Evil Genius is very comfortable. Basement somewhere that Empire have picked apart piece by piece. This north window run out from Evil Geniuses, great adaptation. I have to say, they committed fully to it, and that's the beautiful thing, because it was a change from Empire, where Empire shifted away from a lobby focus because they realized it wasn't working into a Skylight take because they figure, hey, let's go with what works, what's typical, what's common, what we know we can, Russian machine doesn't break sort of strategy. And it ended up costing them because EG adapted on top of that to run out north windows continuously. And yes, they got punished, but it was so worth it because if you don't feel pressure from north windows on an attack like what we just saw Empire execute, you're effectively not dealing with nearly as many crossfires, in fact, none, because you have the Clash to support you by holding the main hallway and storage. So now EG has the Crossfire, and they can work the advantage on site. It's a beautiful play. I love their commitment, and by there, I mean EG's commitment to holding those north windows.
Interesting time for a tactical timeout here from Evil Geniuses as well. I would imagine that you don't save it for the side switch because you're more worried about going down into a possible 4-2 split. EG's been successful on the CEO site, but they have struggled on the Locker CCTV site, which is where we are going to go for round 5. And yeah, I would expect you to take a moment, pause, discuss it, and maybe shore up your weaknesses because it has not been working for EG.
Yeah, if you're an Evil Geniuses fan, you got to be worried at this moment in time. Like this is like, okay, EG can win CEO all they want, but they can also only go it twice. Like they're not gonna be able to go back to CEO on this defensive half. Why? Because they're successful every time they go there. So if EG can't make something else work, you know, the basement, because that seems to be where they want to make their stand, then it's gonna be really difficult for EG when they go to the second half.
Yeah. I think EG's a little bit more worried about the immediate. Sure, if EG, how confident they are in their attacks, I would imagine, well, if you're gambling your tactical timeout now, two of things have happened. One of the two things have happened. Either one, you weren't anticipating using it this early, and you are because you're in trouble, or you use it now because you don't think you're going to need one on that second half. It could honestly be both. They might think that they didn't need one, period, and we actually have seen teams forego using a tactical timeout to the entirety of a map. Each team gets one timeout per map. So no real downside in using it.
Yeah, and it's good timing. You know, it could build up some momentum, work out a new strategy, like you said.
I guess the only real downside to using it is that your opponents also get to confer with the team.
Of course, yeah.
And because of this, if you're beating your opponent senseless, why take it?
Right.
When your opponents will be given an opportunity to breathe.
But for Evil Geniuses, this is a good time. They need to figure out basement. That's really what's going on here. And hopefully, if you're an EG fan, they have. Canadian playing much safer with the Pulse. I like seeing this. He did play safer earlier, the last time they were here, but not quite need to get picked in server.
And I mean, when EG had their roam, on the very first time that we saw a defensive locker CCTV downstairs, there was no trade potential. They were all playing in silos. You know, you saw, what was it, both Geo and Canadian in positions where nobody could refrag each other.
Yeah, they were playing to defend by server and ended up both getting picked off. But one by one, there was no, like you said, no refrag.
So you've subbed out the Kaid for the Maestro, and Young will have the Italian operator in his hands. You've got Necrox playing on the server stairs, so not really that much of a difference. Oh, what a peek from NVK. Not many people can make that shot, and NVK can.
Wow,
He'll walk away with a tiny bit of HP left, but man, what a play that is.
That's a great example of a fight that you really shouldn't win, and the fact that MVK did against someone like Dan, who has just been proving himself time and time again, is impressive. Scyther trying to clear the barbed wire using these flashes. He's got to know that his opponent is flashed right now, but the gas canisters keep repelling him. This is beautiful play from Necrox.
Necrox has used all the canisters, though.
Yeah.
So with a minute left, you're trying to use it. Oh, beautiful shot from Scyther through the smoke onto Necrox. That'll clear out the stairs and allow you to walk on down without too much of a worry. You've also lost some of the plant denial, and a Jackal Ping will give one of the remaining members of Evil Geniuses some worry. NBK is still very low, too. So you're going to have to hope that either your Evil Eyes, which you might still have two of if you're Evil Geniuses, or the two Nitro Cells that will likely be in the hands of Geo and Canadian, will need to be your only plant denial. 30 seconds to go, and Joystick on the main lobby stairs, heading on down. He'll think better of it.
Joystick is one of the most important players, I think, in this situation. He's going to have to punch at the right moment. He's got two players to hold those main stairs. Geo is going to be pushing up the main stairs while the smokes go into sight. Geo will be shut down, and that's going to give Joystick an opportunity, but he gets return fragged by NVK. The C4 for Canadian lands, but the diffuser is in the hands of Shepard. Scyther's going to enter into red, but shut down by Canadian. Beautiful play, but Shepard shuts him down in turn. NVK, can you do it? Yes! He drops to deny the plant, but he doesn't need to. Time is all he needs, and Evil Geniuses will take the round.
That was a very risky play from NVK, though. If I can rain on his parade for just a second here. He had 3 HP, and he drops through the hatch when the clock still had 2 seconds left on it, and because of this, if Shepard gets the kill, that's it. That's all she wrote. Why drop through the hatch at that point? Why not wait until you know that the timer is indisputably at 0 and then drop? Because Shepard doesn't have the ability to fall off the plant.
Yeah.
Because the clock is 0 and Empire loses.
I absolutely have to concur with you on this one. I think...
Do you concur?
You always do this. I have to agree with you on this one. NVK...
It's a quote, Michael.
I know. But you always do it. NVK took a huge risk there. He didn't need to. He did not need to. If he had played out the timer, all he needs to do is wait for the tap, tap, tap on the laptop, because there's absolutely no way that Shepard could plant in that situation. MVK had 1 HP in this situation.
Yep.
Mind you, he could have died to one of those bullets, but none of them landed. So very big risk by MVK. But hey, he won. It worked out for him. He's been taking a lot of risks, rather, throughout this whole match, and it has been working for NVK, usually.
Usually. He took a significant risk to peek the hatch and take Dan out of action, which a lot of people would say, don't peek the hatch.
Yeah, it was a pretty big risk.
I mean, that's one of those things where if he loses it, we turn around and we say, why did you peek that hatch?
Yeah, it absolutely is. Again, NVK's playstyle has been throughout this match so far the type of playstyle that you want to say, normally, that's a mistake, but he's making it work. So, Tellers, finally.
And it's going to be a defense for that main floor site, but there's going to be an expenditure of bodies up top, unsurprising. You're usually going to keep a couple bodies over near CEO. You're not going to be defending that site, but you want to keep the presence and pressure up there.
Joystick on the North Repel. He's going to be instrumental in clearing out the roamers, but he's got Canadian underneath him on the pulse. So as soon as somebody repels into the CEO, he could potentially detonate the C4 using his heartbeat detector. I'm sure Canadian's aware of what he's dealing with right now, as he's continuing to linger underneath, waiting for an opportunity to catch a prey. Dan has moved upstairs.
Yeah, it looks like second floor control, or at least most of it, is pretty good. Joystick is inside a CEO, so all of EG have dropped off.
C4 wasted there from Canadian as well. He missed it. Unfortunate timing.
1 minute and 20 seconds, and EG has vacated that second floor. They've checked out. You're allowing Empire to continue on up there, and there's going to be soft destruction in spades as well. You look at the breaching rounds that are being, or the breaching charges that are being brought. You got both Dan and Karzeka running them, so you have 6 opportunities to remove some protection from your defenders. You've also got a set of smokes that Joystick will be running nonstop. Oh, that's a shot if I've ever seen one. And he's gonna go for more. The absolute madman. As we said, he's a maniac, and now Karzeka will tussle with Necrox as well and almost lose his head because of it.
Man, the way that Evil Geniuses are playing are just unlike we've ever seen from them before. Karzeka is going to, however, shut down Necrox, which is huge. He just kept peeking those holes that were established by Team Empire, and eventually it worked against him. But he's done a lot of damage, and the way that EG are playing, again, their aggression is just non-stop. We've got Geo coming up from behind by Server. He could potentially flank anyone in Skylight. We've got a main lobby focused here for Empire, so that might not be the most influential push, but still Canadian in open area who can flank at any time.
Hear the exothermic charge go off, and Empire can just walk on in now as both teams are fighting fit 4v4. Karzeka and Geo are both lower on HP. You've still got Canadian in play somewhere. This wild card, he's very far back. It looks like he's actually over by open area. And with the UMP going off, hard to tell if it's NVK or Canadian engaged in this fight. A beautiful shot from Scyther will claim Young. They have to be very cautious now as Geo goes across, takes out Dan. Karzeka takes down Canadian, but then Scyther will fall too. It's going to be Karzeka left to protect Shepard, who will be very vulnerable. But there you'll have it. NVK shuts down Karzeka. Shepard will be all on his own. He's going to have to come off of the plant at some point. Geo doesn't know where he is. Oh, what a shot! It's going to be an easy round for EG in the final 20 seconds. It got scary there for a moment, but a little bit of a celebration from Geo and a smiley face put into the wall as NVK will be credited with the disable of that diffuser. A 4-2 scoreline is as good as you could hope for at this tight of a competition emerging from either half.
I said it before and I'll say it again. This is an Evil Geniuses that we've never seen before. The way that they're playing, just, they don't care, it feels like. They've been going at it so aggro, and it's beautiful. See if they can keep it up. They're going on to attack now. Empire will start, looks like, on the basement. Absolutely excellent way to start the first half of this map for Evil Geniuses. They're going to be bringing, oh no, a 6-pick off of the Jackal onto a sledge. Is this really going to be confirmed? Yes, indeed. Interesting pick from Geo, leaning towards the soft destruction.
Downstairs to Cash and CCTV is about as ordinary as it's going to get for these two teams. Though we did see, and I mean, I do say that when we saw EG go to CEO at the very start. Pretty ordinary setup for Empire. I would suspect that with this Ella being on the board, we're gonna see a heavy contest of the server stairs. The deployable shield, as well as the shotgun, leads me to believe that that will very much be the case.
Yeah, Empire are, I think, a team that you could reliably, you can expect them to contest the server stairs. And Dan bringing that shotgun on Ella, yeah, it's gonna happen. He's also got the deployable shield. That's gonna make defending from server stairs even easier. We've got Jaeger's ADS is being placed in there, Gauchemont mines. Scyther is even playing underneath the staircase by the sewer tunnel with his heartbeat detector to try and assist in that hold. And Joystick's going to be assisting as well. So, server-focused hold here for Empire. I don't know if EG are actually going to fall for that same trap. Because we saw when, we saw the last time that Empire played on Bank, a similar situation where they just held the stairs and it was a struggle for someone to deal with it. So it's been a problem for a lot of teams on Bank.
See you on the other side.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but with Maverick not banned, you could have him in play here if you really wanted him. You don't necessarily need the Hibana Thermite combo. You can run a Maverick. Usually we'll see one of the hard breachers get banned out, but it's a Capitao and a Jackal that are not on the board. So it really comes down to personal preference here as to what EG wants.
Looks like they're opening up all of the drop downs, which would make sense if...
This might be a Lockers take.
It could be. I think EG are just trying to open up their options because they realize that there's somebody holding that server stairs and they don't want to contest it directly. That's my guess. They have a lot of options. That's the beauty of it because they've opened up all of the drop downs to the bottom floor. So EG can pounce from anywhere.
Lots of soft destruction too. Canadian on the Zofia has the breaching charges available. Sledge will obviously bring in the frag grenades, but he's got that hammer at his ready.
Yeah. The Sledge was 6-picked into from a Jackal. It looks like, based on that 6-pick, that they're not planning on a server take because they don't have the smokes anymore that would have been there from the Jackal.
Say goodbye to Shepard though, as there's NVK, and well, it does definitely appear like it's going to be some kind of takeover towards Lockers. Joystick gets shut down by NVK. Who's going to be able to outduel him? A lot of people have leveled criticism at the play of NVK, but so far in this finals, he has showed up every step of the way, leading his team oftentimes in terms of kills and in impacts. He has been a very valuable tool for them. Only 30 seconds to go, and you have to wait for a locker push at all. Dan is being completely negated over on those server stairs, and Karzeka will now be the one to possibly move on over. He understands that lockers will be the point of assault, but say goodbye to Dan. Young finds him, and right now EG is just demolishing Empire on this round. 20 seconds to go, down goes Karzeka, and where's Scyther? Well, he's inside a vault. He's gonna need to come out at some point. He's got the UMP in hand, and he'll play around these bars. Will be able to land the shots. No, Geo gets that. How about a flawless round? How about a start? It's as good as you're gonna find from EG.
Wow, okay, so I don't even know if they droned out the Ella, but Evil Geniuses said, oh, they're holding server? We expected that. We're gonna go somewhere else. It's fine. And they committed to a full garage take? Okay, one thing I want to point out on an individual level, NVK. So he's been really performing above and beyond throughout this match, but that pick right there is what really stands out to me. I remember way back in the very beginning of Pro League, we're talking way early seasons, NVK was the player that just always took garage. You could not hold a garage on bank against NVK. That is one trait that he has always had, and it seems to still be alive because he not only got 3 kills in that round, but also single-handedly took control of garage with no drone work being done to assist him in that instance. Beautiful job to NVK. And Evil Geniuses, as a whole, again, playing outside of their minds. Just something I feel like I haven't seen this EG in ages.
There was a belief that was held by longtime fans of Evil Geniuses and before they were even playing under that organization, that the longer that an event goes, the better they get. I mean, I think that broke over the last couple months.
Yeah, a lot of people lost faith.
But it does seem to be a return to form, as what we've seen as well. They looked a bit shaky against Immortals. I think that Coastline match always gives the worst kind of flashbacks to most people.
Yeah.
And then to go up against FaZe, I was impressed with FaZe and the way that they dismantled Lestream. I wouldn't have been too surprised to see FaZe emerge from that matchup in, better shape and actually would have faced off against Empire. But EG did well. It got scary on border, but they ended up pulling out ahead, and it was another 2-0 victory, one of many that we've seen so far this tournament. We've only actually seen 2-1 so far. And they now find themselves up 5-2, willing to take their map. And if they lose Oregon, well, then we'll set ourselves up for the second best of three, or the third map, rather, that we've seen in this entire tournament. A good opportunity for Team Empire to cool off by taking a tactical timeout, and an animated coach as well as bench. You have to ensure that you're not getting to each other's plays. You can't get into each other's heads.
Yeah.
It'll affect you too much.
You gotta be calm. You gotta maintain composure through these breaks. They can sometimes trip you up. I think this is a good time for Empire, as they are clearly on the back foot when it comes to Bank. They need to formulate some kind of strategy, something out of the blue to counter what Evil Geniuses is putting up right now.
EG's not really taking the time to talk either.
Yeah. I think, you know what, honestly?
Very solemn looks on their faces.
EG are focused. They are focused. And hey, man, that's a good thing if you're an EG fan. I think that, EG just want to play. I think that they're ready, and they just want to play.
If you're a fan of baseball, it's like when a pitcher is throwing a no-hitter or a perfect game.
Right, and
they just want to play.
They want to stay in that. They want to stay in that groove. Yeah,
absolutely.
No, don't want to ruin that. I think EG definitely fall true to that kind of mentality.
So round number 8 is about to go underway, and EG are 1 round away from match point. There was a Montaigne being teased. Now, it seems strange to think of EG playing on Montaigne if it's not Young playing on that shield role. It's Canadian who whipped it out yesterday. Of course, was bait, as you can see now, that it stays that same hue of blue, that shade of blue, but it'll be a Twitch this time around for EG to see what they can accomplish. And while Locker's takes are not entirely uncommon, it is a bit odd to see it used immediately. I would suspect that we're probably not going to see it again because Empire will likely be more prepared for it.
That is true. One thing we should notice, yes, while Evil Genius's first attack was just really well executed, at the same time, Empire did not adjust at all.
No.
There was so little adjustment there. They had their Ella in server stairs, I think at the last minute of the round when they had already lost 2-3 players at that point.
And I mean, you basically negated an entire operator.
Yeah.
The reason why you put your resources there is because you know that your opponents are going to have to fight through that at some point, and EG just decided to go completely around it. And there's been an explosion in Empire's lineup. They have completely changed around an awful lot of things. I think realizing that they were starved for information is a significant problem, and because of this, Dan is now going to go with Valkyrie, so you can establish an Evil Eye camera inside of the garage. You can do the same thing, or the Black Eye camera inside a garage. You likely will have an Evil Eye camera in there as well from Shepard, but just in case, you can find another that's a little bit more hidden. See what you can do with it. Joystick upstairs is already taking quite a bit of HP. Oh, beautiful shot. Say goodbye to the Twitch. The F2 is off the board, but now Joystick under fire from a separate angle. It's a lot farther down. Look to be all the way maybe by parking garage through the windows as Joystick will hit the deck and crawl on his back, trying to avoid any errant bullets that are shot forward from Evil Geniuses. Necrox is hot on his trail, but Joystick is still prone. He's still being spotted. And because of this, EG are aware that, yes, we don't have map control, but 2, we're taking away too much time on the clock.
This is half the round already.
The problem is that if you have Necrox lose this fight, you're in a major disadvantage due to that being one of your hard breachers.
And this is Joystick we're talking about. He's lost half of his HP here to errant shots from various different guns, but he keeps getting marked, he keeps getting droned, and he's still alive. He's doing a great job of positioning himself adeptly, but he will likely be shut down here by Necrox. There you go. NVK and Necrox finally get him, but how long did it take?
He also took down Canadian, so I would say that that was very worthwhile.
Yes.
I would say that's a victory for Joystick, and you can move on from there knowing that you did a pretty valiant job when you consider the parameters of that row. You took out Canadian. There's no Twitch drones that you have to worry about. You've taken out the best gun on Evil Geniuses as well.
Yeah, it's 100% an advantage there for Joystick. Great roam. And now Evil Geniuses are going to be pressed for time when they go for the side take.
You've also put Necrox in a position where even a small bit of a C4 explosion will kill him.
Yeah.
And he's also far more susceptible to falling to a toxic canister. Now, for EG, they've got Young holding on to that diffuser. So he's going to be the one that's going to be taking the brunt of the aggression from Empire when he inevitably goes for the plant. It's going to be a grenade that gets thrown out and an EMP as well, just to try and disable anything that you're going to see from Empire. If an EMP does catch you right, it could make it so that Scyther's blind. Dan takes out Necrox, but there you have it. Every single gun will become active, waiting for Karzeka to possibly come on out from inside of his safe hole. It's going to be 2 members of Empire, but there's only 2 seconds. Where are they? There's no plant. Young is going to have to go down, and this is a loss for EG. No opportunity. He's going to fall off. He's not going to allow them to have that glory or satisfaction of killing the Thermite as all of his teammates died around him.
Well, I would say nice try from Evil Geniuses, but honestly, you know, it really comes down from the fact to the fact that they lost Canadian so early on upstairs. Canadian was the dedicated roam clear of the top floor. He lost his fight despite having lots of information on his side, plenty of people droning for him, and then it took a whole minute to rotate 2 players, Necrox and MVK, to pinch Joystick. That right there, that's the crippling blow. So that is Joystick playing excellently. And a mistake by Canadian. Also, that was a beautiful shot.
Joystick was also very aware of Necrox's position, though, and you could see he had the preemptive fire on him, and that could have gone very bad for Necrox.
Absolutely could have. He did eat some damage, I believe, in that engagement. But, yeah, great job to Joystick, though. Again, individual effort there. I think that saved that round. But a mistake made by Evil Geniuses in that they only applied 1 player to the top floor clear. Sometimes you can just take a top floor clear on basement defense of this map for granted. Sometimes. Not in this case.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens on CEO now, as this lineup from Empire looks very commonplace. Nothing really out of the ordinary. On CEO, you're going to be engaging at long range most of the time. Even when you're going to have your attackers go through those CEO panels, you want to have at least 1 ACOG, possibly 2. You're a bit limited because Echo is banned, so you'll go with likely Maestro, and then, I mean, Kaid does have access to an ACOG, but you're not going to play him in the same capacity that you would see a possible Echo. You might see a Rook or a Doc. In this case, you're going to bring a Doc. He finds himself in a position where he is picked far and above ahead of Rook, and a large part of that is because, number 1, he works better with the team with those 3 stim pistols, and number 2, juicing yourself up that extra 40 HP, it could mean the difference in a fight.
So, the Empire sitting nice and comfortable on the top floor. Have not gone here yet. The Nomad, not a surprise to see on the side of Geo. We've seen a lot of bans for Nomad today, especially on the side of Team Empire. Team Empire like to allow themselves the aggression that Nomad completely shuts down. And Evil Geniuses, well, they're going to bring that tool since it's available, and since they know they're going to be dealing with the CEO hold. No engagements thus far. Lots of time being spent here by Evil Geniuses. They're just setting up.
I like this about EG. Running the Nomad, if these air jabs are used on the windows, then it's going to make a difference when they go to vault on out, depending on when that air jab gets triggered.
I don't think it triggers vault, like in midair. Does it do that? I thought you had to be like standing.
It's actually a very good question.
Yeah, I've never experimented.
Vault out a window. I haven't either.
No. Well, I suppose we'll find out.
Someone will correct us.
Someone will correct us.
Inevitably.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Genuinely, thank you. We don't know.
In advance, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
We say thank you.
Evil Geniuses setting up for a square take, and they've got everything going for them, really. There's not a lot to say about what Empire's been doing except for that. Joystick from below takes down Young. Not enough flank watch on the basement. And Evil Geniuses will repeat a trick that we saw from Empire in the last half. Taking out that Evil Eye Cam with the Thatcher EMP. Scyther, though, another kill. And Evil Geniuses looking in like they're in a tricky spot. Some missed shots there from Necrox. It's unfortunate.
Air jabs being deployed as well by Geo, but just looking to possibly cut down any flanks that would happen inside of that skylight stairwell. At least you were able to get one of those panels open if you're EG onto the CEO wall. But EG's last round and this round too, both find themselves being victims of the clock more than anything. And a great deal of uncertainty right now is you still have Necrox out on Repel. It's going to put more of a focus on both Geo and NVK to push on in. And Empire are primed and ready to greet them. There's tons of plant denial, there's great guns, and Scyther's going to get Geo quite easily. Smoke will choke out a possible push from NVK on the back. And right now, Empire are just banging on all cylinders. But say no more. There's 2 kills from EG. Dan is there to take out NVK. And where are you, Necrox? 10 seconds to go. In the worst position that you can find yourself here on Bank. It's a death trap. You're going to have to swing on in. It's a joint effort from Empire. After this tactical timeout, Empire have seemingly found the magic formula that they needed to mount a comeback. Clearer minds do tend to prevail, and in the last 2 rounds, they absolutely have.
Yep, really beautiful job there to Empire the last 2 rounds, like you said. And CEO, very comfortable, it seems, for Team Empire. A little bit of trepidation on the side of Evil Geniuses. We were seeing earlier a lot of aggression from EG, just taking that fight, being confident in themselves. That seems to have somewhat slowed down as they shifted over to attack.
It's a beautiful shot from Scyther there as well that we got to see.
Evil Geniuses are putting a lot of effort into their setup, and then when they go for the execution, unfortunately, it's working against them. And here's why. Because Empire are the team for the setup game. We're talking about, like, setting up a take into a site or setting yourself up to repel a take into a site. That's what Empire does well. What has just happened, by the way, with Scyther
Oh
joystick?
boy, that is not good.
Looks like it was an impact.
I mean, it must have been.
Yeah, Scyther has used both of his impacts, so I'm guessing Joystick walked in front of Scyther, because there's only 1 impact hole. So yeah, Joystick walked in front of Scyther, and then they had to use both impacts to open up 1 hole, and then both players took a lot of damage. That's my guess, but we didn't see it. But yeah, I think that's what happened.
I mean, there's a replay system.
That's true.
if they caught it.
I don't know.
Timestamp that one. It's when somebody in the chat screams, clip it.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Please, I'd like to see.
Yeah.
Now, it is a Teller's defense here, which means you're going to have a heavy CEO presence from Team Empire. This, I'm not going to lie, losing 100 HP, more, sorry, early on is really bad.
There's no resets anymore. For those that are unfamiliar with what a reset is, it's when you knock down your teammate and then pick them back up, or your teammate is downed by something else and you pick them back up. They go to 20 HP now instead of 50. So this is just hope that is lost from Empire because of those, you know, that unfortunate set of circumstances that befell both Scyther and Joystick. And it's really going to make a big difference in a gunfight too. It's possibly 2 bullets less that need to hit, or 2 bullets fewer.
Self-correction.
The last time and the only time that we've seen Tellers be defended was Evil Geniuses in round number 6, and basically the way that they played it was the heavy roam presence up on that 2nd floor, but they peeled off early. Very early, actually. It was, I think, about 50 to 60 seconds in where EG began to sound the horns for the retreat, and then they got back to the site. And because of the way that they played, they caught a couple members of Empire very early and then just forced Empire to have to engage in fights that Empire was flying into blind, leaving, I believe it was Shepard in a position where he was extremely vulnerable and lost the fight to Geo. While we were talking, Joystick got softened up by what I'm imagining is probably 1 or 2 bullets flying through some form of debris or wall, because now he's sitting on almost literally 1 HP.
It's been difficult for Joystick this round.
He's still downstairs. That deep lurk that we know from Joystick so well often doesn't need a refrag or a trade-off because he's able to win those fights on his own. In weakened condition, it might be a little bit difficult. C4 goes out, and he'll take a chunk of HP away from Young, but that will be it. And Karzeka is none the wiser as to whether or not it hurt any member of EG.
Young walking away from that alive is going to be huge for Evil Geniuses moving forward, I'm sure. Evil Genius is now full top floor control. They need to start turning it into, though, site pressure. Joystick, again, as you said, still in that deep roam. Looks like he's gone undetected thus far. Geo is droning out archives and detecting that, oh, hey, there's only one player actually holding this part of the site. Maybe we can just pressure straight on in.
Those marks were very out of date, but that grenade had Scyther's name on it, and he'll miss as Shepard will try to hold down any push in towards Tellers from the main stairs. He's positioned as smoke, so he can cut it off with any kind of plant denial that he wants. He uses one toxic canister with 30 seconds to go, so he's going to need to be a little bit better with his timing. He's still got 2 at his disposal, but there goes another. So he's got 17 seconds and 1 left. All right. I can deal with that timing. Dan will see what shelter above him slowly disappear as Young is inside of the site. Scyther finds NVK, but Empire might not be aware of where the position is. Joystick falls to Canadian, and Young will get the plant down successfully under the nose of Empire as Canadian's there to pick up yet another kill onto Scyther. A lot of patience from Empire right now inside of the site as Karzeka will wander around one of the cabinets inside of Archives, look around and see Young like a mother hen on top of the diffuser. He'll drop him quite well, and Young had no idea that that was coming. Gets absolutely rocked and knocked off as Empire don't know where the remaining members of EG are. EG in a position now where they're going to have to try to come back. Oh! Dan, a beautiful shot onto Geo as it looked like it was going to be a disable for a second there. And another! Dan on Skylight tying all of this together, looking for another body! Oh, he grabs them all! 3 kills! And Dan is unstoppable up top. He'll shut down all of EG on his own and leave Shepard to now tie it up as it'll be a very easy disable of the diffuser. And a round that EG had and looked to have fooled their opponents will go the other way.
All on Dan. A round that EG just lost. Well, they shouldn't have lost. They had that round in the bag, and then Dan just started fragging on a Kaid using the pistol.
I have no idea who the crowd is chanting for.
Let's go Empire, I think it's just.
I thought it was Empire, but they've chanted EG before?
Yeah, they're, I wouldn't say they're chanting for anyone in particular as much as they're chanting for a good match. I'd say that's probably what's going on here.
Quite possibly.
Also, I mean, there are a lot of fans from both teams in the crowd, to be honest. Yeah.
We are on European soil.
Yeah, but at the same time, EG, the OG team, a lot of fans here for EG. I've talked to a lot of people who are like, yeah, we want EG to win this one. And I think there's like I said, there's a lot of mix.
Empire has made an awful lot of fans since their triumph in Challenger League and the rise they've been on so far and how well they've done. But EG's got a very large, very vocal, and very established fan base, similar to some of the other big teams that have just been around for
ages.
Years, literally years. And I would imagine that the performance that we have seen in Milan so far is endearing quite a lot of people to Empire, or endearing Empire to them.
I agree.
Depending on the way you look at it.
Empire have done an impressive job of bringing this back to a 5-5. I remind you guys, we ended the first half 4-2, and then EG put themselves up 5-2 the first round of the second half, and now it's nice and even.
It's a tactical timeout, though.
It was,
EG took the tactical timeout and won the next 3 rounds in a row. Empire took a tactical timeout and has now won the last 3 rounds in a row.
Yeah, so will this be where it all kind of filters out, or I mean, what's going to happen? Because the tactical timeout only goes so far, right?
What comes next?
Yeah, what comes next is the question. Basement defense here for Empire. They've had mixed success here. Lost it the first time, won it the second time. And the first time it was, I believe, from Evil Genius, a locker take, which is a little unorthodox. It's a good take, though. I believe the second time they lost it because of Joystick's amazing roam on CEO, and Canadian got shut down. There was so much time wasted by Team Empire and Joystick specifically. They couldn't, Evil Geniuses couldn't recover.
Canadian finds himself once again up top inside of CEO, doing his best for the entry. He's got Necrox below him. 2 XK-Ros already used, so Necrox has been able to grab 2 of those hatches. You got Soft Destruction 2 for EG in a lineup that has become all too familiar for them over the last couple rounds. Not a lot of variation, you don't really need it, I suppose. But it does appear that this change, with the way that the attack is going to happen, is very straightforward. Instead of attacking lockers, as you mentioned, and instead of having Empire control that second floor for as long as they did, they're going to forfeit the ability to contest from server. And Young will use both of his exothermic charges to open up everything. Interesting to open up that second wall. A lot of teams will leave it completely enclosed because you put yourself at a disadvantage often. You don't really have as many opportunities to hide.
It's definitely a preference change there from Evil Geniuses. Some teams like to leave it closed. Oh. There you go. Okay, Canadian did get it, but it took him one extra zap.
That's both Evil Eyes done as well.
Yeah, great job there to Evil Geniuses. And now a whole minute to attack. Following up that, they've got a nade kill onto Dan, and Scyther has been downed by the same nade. Beautiful job by Geo, doing a lot of damage. Scyther's back in it, but at such low HP. If he can land another nade, this is going to take care of Karzeka, who's playing in the hallway, but he'll move just in the nick of time.
We'll go off at the wall here, and you'll see some fire go up at least through the open hatch, but for the time being, EG has 30 seconds to find the remaining members that have not been softened up of Empire. BK just very rhythmically picking away at Shepard. A beautiful shot with Geo doing his damnedest as well, leaving Joystick as the one to try and come on in, and he will now be solely responsible for Empire's fortunes. EG look like they have everything in their favor to push on to match point. As the diffuser goes down quite successfully, and Joystick will now tread carefully up the main stairs. Nestled in that barbed wire, there will be one member of EG staring him down. They will be able to find him or not. There will actually be two there. Joystick engaging, but expecting a push from inside of open area. He's going to have to look left and look right. I believe they call this the Kansas City Shuffle. It's when you look left, and they go right. It's a beautiful shot from Joystick, but Necrox will be there to trade off his teammate, and EG will find themselves on match point. Finally, that momentum that was gained from the timeout from Empire will wear off, and EG find themselves with a somewhat graceful recovery.
Somewhat graceful, but not fully complete, as we are one round away from overtime, as well as one round away from map number 2. Just depends on who takes it. Evil Geniuses, though, it looks so very strong. Be going to CEO. It's the last site, potentially, for this first map.
See, that was great what we just saw from the Pulse and the Valkyrie. From the position above on that hatch, it's easy to bounce a frag grenade off of the downed cart and blow up somebody playing at what is often a mirror window spot. There's no mirror window there, but you know that the Valkyrie is playing in that position. The Pulse was coaxed out of gold by the fact that it appeared that EG was sticking a plant. Now, in order to do that, you have to make yourself vulnerable to get the C4 out, and because of the fact that both of them pushed out at a time when Young looked to be baiting a plant, it was very easy for the grenade of Geo to be able to hit its intended target.
So CEO. This is a site that is currently 1-1 for Team Empire. They've won it every single time. They looked pretty confident the last time they were here. A lot of it came down to their ability to just win gunfights. Straight up. Walls got opened up, North Repel was a problem, and Empire peaked and won those gunfights. Now, on the side of Evil Geniuses, I'm curious to see what kind of strategy they're going to employ, because coming in from CEO just did not work out so great last time.
Joystick fed off of them, if I recall correctly. He went undetected downstairs. He's just been doing a number of times here on defense.
Got a pick from, I believe, the top of server stairs onto the top of square. Very impressive.
He's gonna have more pressure on him this time to do the exact same thing as Michael. Canadian is reunited with Ash.
That's true.
Is that a break case in case of emergency sort of deal? Break glass in case of emergency?
No, I wouldn't say so. Canadian, a reliable Ash player. He's just gonna have to rotate onto it. I think he wants to win gunfights. I mean, we talked about it I just talked about it. The way that Evil Geniuses lost the last time they were here was they were losing a lot of gunfights. I feel like Canadian on Ash, yeah, that's a fearsome duo. And if he plays it right, it might be all that his team needs to take this round.
See if there's any ADSs inside of CEO. One flashbang from Canadian will get chucked on in. Nobody is actually sitting inside either B nor A. Scythers and Banana just lying underneath the castle. Barricade and Joystick and Shepard are inside of the peripherals, or the peripheries, rather, inside of Conference as well as Janitorial. Young was the very first pick. He was taken out early on after getting one of the walls open. He'll get away scot-free this time as the right panel to CEO gets opened up by that exothermic charge, and, well, he'll go on to drone and survey the damage that he's done. Over top of the left panel happens to be a lot of soft destruction that was caused by the defenders that might be indicative of a possible impact trick It really depends on what the strategy is here, as you do have impacts in the hands of Dan on the castle. But he's used both of his impact grenades, so a moot point, I'm sure. Shepard taking quite a bit of damage, and Young will go in for the second exothermic charge and look to be quite successful. Joystick goes for the run out, cuts down Canadian, but there's a C4, or there's a Claymore positioned right below it. So they'll trade it out, and Canadian will be pure utility. Dan now falls to Necrox, and EG are finding themselves in better shape here on CEO than they were before.
Evil Geniuses look very strong right now. That pressure on North Windows was heavy from Canadian, and Necrox is going to take up the same position now on North Repel. 45 seconds, still plenty of time for EG to make this attack happen, and they're going to extend their lead by taking out Shepard. Necrox on the side there. It's just kill after kill for Evil Geniuses, and now it's just Karzeka in a 1 versus 4 for the hopes of overtime. He'll get one. Can he get the deny on the defuse? No, he cannot. But can he get in the post is the next question. He's doing a lot of damage to Young, but he's down and out of ammunition. He's got plenty of time here on this post for the diffuser. He's just got to play his cards right. Take the right engagements. And it seems like Evil Geniuses aren't going to give Karzeka any engagements to take. The diffuser is planted by the window. EG doesn't need to risk anything. C4 goes out, expecting someone outside of the breach. It's not going to happen. No connect there. To the top skylight, somebody on the window. Evil Genius is really well arrayed. He cannot run out because he won't have time to get back, and that's it. Round forfeited. Necrox gets the last kill, and Evil Geniuses take map number 1 in this best of 3 Season 9 finals.
A valiant effort for Empire, but falling just short of being able to put away the team whose map they just played on. This is the best opportunity that this team has had in Evil Geniuses to be able to collect a championship since the Six Invitational in 2018. And for those of you with good enough memories to recall that particular matchup, you'll remember that EG stormed out to a 2-0 map lead in a best of 5, only to essentially get reverse swept. The same thing will need to happen here for Empire. They will need to win the next 2 maps in order to take the championship. So history would repeat itself should EG fail to claim the trophy.
This is just, of course, a best of 3, so it's not as much work to be done here by Team Empire, but still quite a lot.
Now, I was really impressed at the start of this attack with how EG was coordinating and taking away the lanes that Empire was essentially giving them. Now, you know that with the way that most teams set up defenses, they'll be in a position to possibly contend both of the sites, but you're usually anticipating a push on either A or B, and because of that, your resources are stacked up accordingly. EG was able to basically dissect everything that Empire had through those first couple rounds and beat them in gunfights, beat them in information, and really get under the skin of Empire. And it did look like Empire was in a position where they were frustrated by it. You could see the body language and the way they were talking on their tactical timeout, and that's as good of an opportunity as we would get to hear or see what they're actually saying. But EG stayed the course. They didn't tilt at all, and they managed to do a great job over those last 2 rounds of getting the information, distributing it to the team, committing, and they got 3 diffusers down in the final 3 rounds. Even though they lost one of those, that's pretty impressive. But we have meteor analysis to dive into, and that's where Milos and the analyst desk comes in. We'll hear their thoughts now.